Hey, good evening, everyone. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, buddy.
We can hear you. All right. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is going to have a good weekend. Hope everyone had a good Friday. My name is Gary Bard. I'm the CEO of Steam Exchange. We're going to go ahead and start off this AMA. I want to welcome you guys to our first official bi-weekly AMA after our recent V1 to V2 upgrade. Without further ado, I'm going to hand this off over to Chris to talk about the agenda.
Thank you, my good man. And good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. I truly hope everyone is well. So for those who don't know me, my name is Chris Beckford, Vice President and Head of Infrastructure Change. Today we have a jam-packed agenda from our team, which entails operational updates provided by Neville. We have marketing and public relationships by Enki. We have our infrastructure updates provided by myself and Gary. And to top it off, we have a very pivotal member who have joining us today and will be sharing it. So everyone's time today. Thank you guys for your patience and coming here today and joining us. And I will talk to you more shortly. With that being said, I will turn it over to Neville for the operational here for today's AMA. Cheers.
Thanks, Chris. So yeah, my name is Neville DeVecchia. I am the President and Head of Operations for Steam Exchange. Before we jump into the operational updates, I do want to talk a little bit about the launch and the burn and some of the hurdles, right? So the day we planned to migrate from V1 to V2, the platform that we chose to use got attacked. A lot of you remember our contract got hit with the infinity glitch. So we knew how to fix it, but the problem was the platform wasn't equipped to accept that fix at the time. So we worked with the developers at Pink Sail. We spoke with them, explained to them how it works, what happened and how to fix it. And then they worked tirelessly through the night on implementing the fix for us so we can do our go live the next morning or the next afternoon. So that was a interesting situation to be in. The second hurdle that we encountered shortly after that and ties into innovation, and innovation is not always perfect, and that's the beauty of it, right? Was we implemented a true burn function into our contract. And when we did the burn, we found that the tokens didn't get burnt from the address that we want to burn from. It actually got burnt from the pool. So inevitably, everyone's holdings were reduced by an equal amount of tokens. So to correct that situation, we did a full analysis of the transactions, and we airdropped everyone their appropriate tokens. And then whatever tokens were left after that, we airdropped again equally to each holder, just as an apology for putting you through that ordeal. So definitely some fun stuff. Again, innovation, it doesn't always come with perfection, but that's the beast of innovation. So jumping into operations, the one piece I wanted to talk about and focus on strongly was our hiring journey, right? So we did recently onboard developers, and the journey towards that was pretty long, right? And it spread us pretty thin. We had over 400 applicants apply for our 2 job postings between LinkedIn and Indeed. Out of those 400 applicants, we narrowed it down to 120 Canadian applicants that were candidates that had the experience and resume that kind of aligned with our vision and our plans. And then out of the 120 applicants and interviews between Gary, Chris, myself, and Anki, we shortlisted it to about 6 developers, and we gave each of them a task. So I am happy to announce one of those developers will be on our AMA, and that is Maurice. So with that said, that's the operational update and the housekeeping updates. I do want to pass it off to Enki to talk a little bit about marketing, and then he will move on to infrastructure with Gary and Chris. Thanks, guys.
Sounds good. Thanks, Neville. Hey, everyone. Good evening, good day, based on where you're from. My name is Enki, and I am the head of PR for Steam Exchange. It's definitely been a journey and a half thus far, right? We're just getting to, 14 days completed, 2 weeks, and we've already had some fun things lined up. So let's talk through the efforts we've done, that we've had completed, some new ones, and some things that we're continuing to do so, right? So we've always maintained from day one that we have to look beyond the BSC space as well for a project of our caliber. So just talking through again to some of the communication aspects there, right? We do have a chatbot that is integrated on our website. Not everyone is as familiar with Telegram and Discord. The chatbot, we have an active team. We've seen some great sort of interaction there. A lot of people coming to our website do use the chatbot to gain information. So that's been a handy tool there. Our support email address, our inbox is full constantly. Again, we have a team monitoring that, keeping through. Our phone number. So that was something that we did mention earlier, that Steam Exchange is actually the only that I am at least aware of, large scale sort of enterprises that deal with digital assets that have an actual phone number. So think about this, guys. It ties back to some things that we're trying to set in terms of the gold standard for customer service, accountability, and just credibility in general, right? If you have a ticket or a dispute with some of our competitors out there, you normally have to wait for a while before you get a response. May not be in your time zone, maybe a generic response. We're taking all of that away and putting it in a corner, right? With Steam Exchange, we're going to have customer service being the pinnacle, right? It is the gold standard, and our phone number definitely helps with that as well. Time back in, so those were the communicational pieces that we do have set up, and they continue to have traction around them. Google Ads. I do sound like a broken record here, but Steam Exchange is actually one of 15 global enterprises that are allowed to have cryptocurrency focused advertising on Google, right? So we have a few campaigns live. We will be scaling these up as we continue to grow and near our exchange release date as well. But this is going to be a great tool for us, a great platform. The third piece I wanted to talk about was media articles and some press releases, right? So we've had considerable interest in the real world media aspect. We are working through a few sort of articles, and hopefully, knock on wood, in the near future, we will see our sort of Steam Exchange name being picked up by a few major syndicates, again, as we had for our previous article where we were positioned as a cryptocurrency startup from Canada, right? So that is definitely under works. Another exciting aspect, and I'm sure the community is looking forward to this as much as we are, is merchandising. So we do see opportunity for merchandising elements to come in, whether it's apparels, whether it's stuff like mugs, hats, pin badges, stuff like that. So that is something that we are evaluating. Of course, it will take a little bit of work here, but this is something that is on our whiteboard, and we are working through it. So I'm sure and confident that the community is excited for this aspect as well, and that is something we are working through. In the BSC space, let's tie back to our SteamX token being a BSC token. We do have to have some form of a focus there as well. So let's start off with Twitter, right? Twitter by far has been our most influential platform to essentially connect with established communities, right? Each time we've put out a tweet, we have been guaranteed trending in the top spot for multiple hashtags that we associate with, right? And this, of course, is all props and all shout out goes to the community for their support here. Each time I drop an announcement for a tweet or a Reddit post, we've seen significant support come in, and we hope that this will continue to help propel us to those positions where people notice us, right? So Twitter, at the least, we will be putting out a tweet daily to help connect with the wider crypto audience, the audience beyond the crypto sort of focused as well on Twitter, just to attract them to our Steam Exchange platform and the Steam Exchange messaging there. So Twitter, definitely a check in the box, and we will continue to do so. Reddit posts, these were quite effective in the early stages, ramping up to our token launch and a tad bit beyond as well. But so far, it does appear that this is a saturated sort of avenue. So I can see us taking a step back on this platform, but we will have a presence there as well. A third one that I wanted to call about was BSC scan ads. This has been quite an interesting one, to say the least, right? We had to go through a significant vetting exercise for our project. We had to get in touch with the team on a personal basis, reach out to them. There was multiple dialogues that went back and forth. When finally we were approved, Steam Exchange was approved to have our sort of advertising on the BSC Scan platform itself. And think about it, guys. I personally use BSC Scan multiple times a day, if not daily. So it's a huge platform for a BSC chain, for the BSC token. We do have our header banner ads live, as well as our header text ads. So we are nearing the end of our campaign. We are in communication with the BSC Scan team just to get the proper detailed analytics about this. Because again, guys, it all ties back to data and analytics. We don't want to push money out there without effectively seeing the results, seeing the sort of effectiveness of those results. So we will be doing an exercise here to deem if this was valuable, and if our sort of results do say so, we will continue to push BSC scan ads as well. But this was a good platform there. Community groups. So I wanted to tie and talk to a little bit about the significant sort of interest that we've seen globally, right? We've had various community groups reach out to us, ask us questions about, hey, when will we have this community group set up and that community group set up? And we genuinely appreciate the support, and it ties into some of our messaging, as we've always maintained that Steam Exchange is a global initiative with a Canadian core. And some of our marketing material earlier as well, we did push out to tie into these different language groups, whether Arabic, Filipino, Chinese, and we will continue to do so, right? So shout out to our Chinese community here as well. They've been a tremendous source of support, and we will be elaborating and sort of extending these different community groups as we grow as well. And I do know Gary will touch upon this a little later as well, but we are working through some of our documentation and some other aspects to be translated into different languages as well. Just an optimization exercise there. Um, Tying back, I want to talk through YouTube. So this has been a fun exercise, a fun platform. I hope that you guys have got to, or you guys actually visited and saw the Crypto Wendy video that was dropped yesterday. I know Gary and Neville had a fun time through this interview. They actually did another interview yesterday as well. This was a little more detailed, a little more sort of drawn out. And that video will be dropping on Tuesday, I believe Tuesday evening. So keep a lookout for that as well. But essentially, we see YouTube being a great platform to help connect, sort of a great platform for credible influencers to connect with us, for us to share our messaging, and essentially remain on there forever, right? The video, the content's going to be on there forever. YouTube in itself is a great platform for the crypto savvy, the crypto curious, and people who don't know much about crypto in itself, right? So it has significant overlap between multiple marketing initiatives that we do. So I see YouTube playing a critical role as we grow, and we will continue to have a focus on YouTube in itself. So as sort of my closing statement, I do want to call attention to the fact that we have mentioned that our platform will be going live or released in Q1 of 2022, an estimated release, and we are essentially treating this as a marathon, right? We know a lot of people would like to see us treat this as a sprint, but that is not an approach that is best suited to a project of our caliber. So a marathon, that's the approach, and essentially a marathon with blinkers on, right? We are incredibly focused. We know we're on a path. We know what we have here, and we are working tirelessly and diligently to get there, right? So our marketing efforts will all have a strategic and sort of targeted focus, and not solely be intended to appeal to sentiment. So on that note, I want to thank you all for your time. Thank you for listening to me, and I'm going to pass it over to Gary for just a run through on our stage 3 phase 1 roadmap and a few more details there. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Anki. So before we go to our stage 3 phase 1 roadmap, let's talk about how we strategize project plans. Chris, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yep, for sure. Thank you. Yeah. So, this fourth quarter segueing into 2022 is going to be jam packed, right? You'll definitely expect to see a lot of updates coming fast. We're currently in the stages right now with our development team on board, finalizing requirements gathering, right? And this information is obviously critical and pivotal, which will allow for us to continue to develop a very tight and comprehensive project plan. And by all means, it has to be, right? If you look at where we currently are and then marching towards the end of quarter 1, right? Now, from an overall approach, what we do is continue to develop our plan to execute deliverables and variables, execute our deliverables in parallel, right? For a high velocity turnover. These turnovers will allow us to get through our multiple checkpoints pretty fast, in and out, and then into the appropriate testing phases. Now, for the most part, while it holds true, there's going to be particular deliverables along the way that hold more or less a finish to start dependency, right? And what that means is that, there's certain stuff that we have that, we have to finish one deliverable in order to start the other, right? But where we definitely can, we're looking to fast track and in another, call it crashing the schedule, right? Crashing the schedules is obviously looking for that opportunity to, in our timelines, stack our deliverables and make sure that we're operating over the high velocity, right? From an overall approach, that's how we will continue to get, again, stage 3 is going to be the most comprehensive and most workload, right? So we're definitely investing possible in our perspective, and from execution, we want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to ensure that we're landing on the end of quarter 1, right? In terms of what the detailed plan will encompass, we're going to be looking, at our, the complete integration of our decentralized exchange into the centralized infrastructure, tokenomics. And when we say tokenomics, we're talking about the real, quote unquote, real tokenomics implementation. Obviously, the development of our Steam Exchange native coin, which you guys have all been hearing about. And most importantly, and I'm going to say most importantly, but one of the biggest ones is the development of our native blockchain, right? These high-level things that is touched on, at a later junction, Gary will kind of run down more in a detailed manner on those, right? So with that being said, in terms of development, what I would love to personally do is hand it over to Maurice, who's a critical member of the development team, who joins us with a vast level of knowledge, experience, and skill set, which will help us deliver our strategic goals. So Maurice, I'll hand you the mic, sir, and
yeah, that was an awesome handoff. Thank you, Chris. It's so great to finally introduce myself to you guys. I've really been looking forward to this week and this AMA. So to give you an introduction about myself, I'm going to break it down. First, talk about a little bit about my education, followed by some of my work experiences, and then my experience and journey with Steam Exchange, and then a little bit about myself personally. So to start with my education, I graduated from a bachelor's in electrical and biomedical engineering from McMaster University. It was a double major of sorts. I graduated in 4 years with 3 different internships. Throughout my university career, I became very, very well versed in numerous facets of engineering, such as software, hardware, electrical and biomedical engineering, through various courses, internships, engineering extracurriculars, and personal projects. So in terms of my work experiences, I'd like to break it down to 3 different facets that directly tie and relate to Steam Exchange. So first, I've done quite a bit of compliance work with various levels of government, ensuring all of our projects adhere to all government and industry standards. So first I worked at the municipal and city level at the region of Peel, followed by working at the provincial and state level governments with Ontario Power Generation. At Ontario Power Generation, I work with the central office for all hydroelectric projects within the province as an electrical engineer. There, I spent time working on databases for our on-plant electrical devices and doing a lot of compliance work and presenting new topics to the whole board of engineers. So as for my education experience, I have actually been tutoring for several years, and I co-founded an educational platform. Our goal with this educational platform was essentially to connect students with tutors and other educational resources. And the inspiration for this was that during the pandemic, a lot of students found themselves really struggling with adapting to this new online world. And education was there was a very big struggle point there. So our goal was to ease this transition and to really help students by, again, providing exactly all the education they needed in an online environment. Now, for my software development and crypto experience, I've done quite a bit of dabbling here and there. I've worked at a software consulting company. I have done various blockchain development contracts, working on decentralized applications and wallets, doing crypto trading and technical analysis on numerous trading platforms, both centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. I found a strong passion for crypto due to macroeconomic trends in recent years, and I really just enjoy the idea of crypto with the ability to democratize finance and the awesome innovative technology behind it that nobody but our industry can really keep up with. Once I found out and really jumped into it, I really never looked back. And ever since then, it's been my primary goal in my career to help increase crypto global adoption and education through my development career and just involvement within this industry. And just a little fun fact about myself. I've actually been trading digital assets for a while, even as a teenager through RuneScape. So I really enjoyed the online marketplace from that. And that really inspired a lot of my crypto interest and passion. So fast forwarding to how I stumbled upon Steam Exchange. So first I found the job posting on LinkedIn, and I was quite intrigued at first. I did my research, my due diligence, and realized that this role completely aligned with everything I wanted in a full-time opportunity. It had working in crypto with a great, intelligent, passionate team, working on a trading platform looking to make history with the goal of increasing global crypto adoption and educating people in this very new and fast emerging space. Now, the interview process, Gary handed me quite a challenging task involving developing and deploying blockchains and smart contracts. So this assignment was best fit for an extended duration of time. However, I was given much less time and I was full and ready to accomplish this. So I worked hard, enjoyed really every minute of it, and successfully completed it through the improvisation, adapting, and quite a bit of problem solving. I was successfully able to complete all of the metrics and everything that was assigned to me. And through that, I successfully earned this role at Steam Exchange. And yeah, just really excited about it. Now, my immediate task at Steam Exchange will be working on the development of the landing page. So currently, we're working on designing this to showcase and integrate all of our SteamX products with a superior, clean, and sleek user interface. So really excited about all of that. And to finally give you a little bit about me personally, I love staying active. I like hikes, running, working out. And as someone in the chat was mentioning, long walks at the beach. I really enjoy American football, watching, playing fantasy. My favorite team is actually the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is funny because they have their colors are black and gold, just like Steam Exchange. So that's a pretty cool coincidence. I also love eating food. My favorite food is shawarma. And we were talking about Chacos, really looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys when we finally start doing some of our meetups. And I enjoy music a lot. My favorite genre is rap. And finally, really excited to be here and really interacting with you guys and just look forward to meeting you all and developing our product and just interacting with all of you guys through Telegram. And with that, I will pass it off.
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you. And like I said, I mean, we're excited to have Maurice on board. Again, he brings a lot of, as you guys can clearly hear, he brings a lot of passion and knowledge to the table. So it's going to be great, man. So Maurice, although I am a little bit disappointed here that you're a Steelers fan because I'm a big Cowboys fan, but we'll deal with that in our project pull-ups. So being said, I will hand it over to our fearless leader, Mr. Gary Bard, our CEO, to give us a little bit more technical insight on the stage 3 development. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Guys, before we go ahead, because I do have quite a bit of topics to cover, I'd like to point out that if you go to our website and refresh the page shortly here, let me just double check that it's there. There we go. So our stage 3 is live. So if you guys want to follow what I'm saying, stage 3 is live. So our roadmap is live. So stage 3, phase 1. This is what we're calling it, part 1, phase 1. So if you want to follow what I'm saying and you want to look at it a little bit more in depth, more description, it's all here. Okay, guys? So let me just go back. All right. So at the very first part of it, Maurice is here. Marisa's task is going to be to work on our landing page that's going to incorporate literally everything into one page. All of your info, all of your requirements is going to be on that page. The documentation that Neville's put together and Anki managed to sort out as well. The work that Chris is doing and there, everything that we have done so far and upcoming will be there, as well as not limited to the blockchain and native coin documentation required for anyone to even begin thinking of putting anything on our blockchain before they even approach us. Everything will be there. So the SDK, so what is SDK? Software Development Kit. All of that knowledgeable information will be there in the documentation. Most of it is already there, but as we progress along, we're going to be working more and more on that. We're going to be adding. As well as in the landing page, you'll have access to our native coin information and all 3 exchanges. Now we're going to make it as convenient as we can and as good looking as we can to host everything in one page. Now, what Anki has talked about, and he said he's going to pass it on to me, we are gradually scaling up our community. We thank you guys for being here. We thank you guys for having our back and supporting us through thick and thin. We'd like to announce that we are actively working in near completion of an additional language that you can click a language button on our website once it's ready and just swap a language over. And this is particularly for the Asian community, as it is the second largest community that we have after the English community in the Telegram chat. So we are implementing that into the website and the documentation white paper, and there will be an option for Mandarin coming very, very soon. Excuse me. So we started project planning for a few things. We've already implemented a few things, but here's where we are and here's how it's going. I'm just going to go over a few things in case anyone missed it or didn't listen to any one of our other AMAs or this was not asked. Tokenomics. Tokenomics, as you heard Neville mention it many, many times. We didn't go into about the detail, but let me give you guys a little bit more information. Different chains work differently as to how they react to tokenomics. So it's not as simple as programming and coding it in for example, Binance Smart Chain, right? So because we have all these other blockchains that we're plugged into, SOL, ADA, TRX, they all have the capacity to do tokenomics in a different way. So we're plugging all of them in, including the chains, including Ethereum, including the BSC space. We're coding for all of that in now. So we know it's going to work by the time that we launch. The decentralized side, why we're kind of making a unicorn here, because it does not exist the way we're making it. We're making it a hybrid between a centralized and a decentralized. So let me clarify in case somebody did miss it, or in case nobody heard it before. Why this is amazing? Because building something right now versus building something before. Building something right now has the capacity to evolve much more than dealing with a built product. So as another organization or company that have a built product is not going to be able to as easily change their entire code. It's basically rebuilding the entire system to factor in tokenomics. They would essentially have to start practically from the ground up, and to most it's not feasible because it's a complete restructure from bottom to top. Now the benefit of us doing it now is we can create it so that it's upgradable in the future should it need to be. The main benefit of it is, again, you're taking the best out of both worlds and putting it into one. So for example, the centralized side, you're filling in transactions much quicker because you're able to offload them over to the decentralized side so that you don't see your transaction sitting there and pending a sale or pending a buy order for a long time. As well as if you would like to come in on the other hand and spend 10, 100,000, Bitcoins you want to buy, you want to sell. If you were to do it on a regular platform, it would probably not fill for a very long time because of the price fluctuation fact, right? So if you're gonna go in and do it on another platform, it would fill partially and then fill partially a little bit later, and then so on and so on and so on. On our platform, we obviously give the first shot over to our centralized side, so our members benefit from getting transactions filled first. Then with the help of many coded algorithms running in the back, we are able to then put our hands into many other liquidity pools and interact with them and draw from them in order to satisfy that order. So how does that benefit you? Well, your order gets filled much quicker, and there's a lot less chance that you would have to cancel a transaction and replace a bid for the buy or the sell because of the price fluctuation. Also, you are able to set the slippage if you want it filled anyhow. So you have a lot more variables that you can mitigate for and adjust yourself for accordingly as you wish. Now, we keep talking about exchange number 3. What is exchange number 3? So everybody knows we're doing a hybrid, but initially we only told you guys that we're doing a centralized, and then we said, surprise, we're doing a decentralized, and it's a hybrid. Then we did drop a little hint that there is something called exchange number 3. What is exchange number 3? So I did explain a few times that it's essentially an exchange option that we have. So all these options, we call them different exchanges because they are, but we implementing them to one backend is why we are unique. What is the third one? So the third one is, if you guys heard me before talk about this and say this, imagine having the ability to trade without connecting your wallet or logging in. Right? So lots of you have been asking and DMing me and all of us together, how is this possible? Well, it's a trustless feature, guys. So the essential way of how it works is you go into it, you select that option, then you select your trade. What would you like to trade, and what would you like to deposit, and what would you like to receive? So for example, if you would like to say that you're receiving for Ethereum Bitcoin, for example. So what does that mean? It means you are going to be sending out Bitcoin and you want Ethereum in return. The system would then generate a specific address for you to deposit that Bitcoin in. The system would also ask you for your Ethereum address that you would want to receive the Ethereum in. Then it would give you a particular amount of time to deposit said funds into the Bitcoin wallet that it generated just for you. So for example, you want to trade 1 Bitcoin, and again, this is a hypothetical number. Let's just say the Bitcoin is 10 Ethereum. The system would then tell you, please go ahead and within X amount of time, so let's just say 4 hours, deposit 1 Bitcoin into the following address. Once there is enough confirmations and the system verifies that you have deposited Bitcoin into that address, the system will automatically send out the 10 Ethereum over to your specified Ethereum address, thereby completing a exchange transaction without having your wallet connected. Some people might like it better because it gives them the extra sense of security that they're not actually connecting their wallet, because you can do offline transactions and then connect it so it goes through. And some people like the faster way where you connect your wallet or log into the exchange and do a trade instantly. But nevertheless, we want to cater to the world. We want the best of everything. And we want to make sure that when you come into our exchange on our website, you are then met by every single choice of your heart's desire. So a little bit more about our native coin and blockchains. As you guys know, we will be migrating you guys from our V2 token to our native coin, and stay tuned for more info on that. Now, just to reiterate a few things, on our blockchain, not any one person will be able to come in and simply deploy a contract. It would have to be heavily vetted by us, by our legal team, by our analytics team, by our marketing team. It will be a special dedicated team. There will be a special dedicated launchpad. We want to turn around and tell you guys with 99.999%, we guarantee that this project that we are facilitating the launch for on our blockchain and allowing them to launch on our blockchain is a good project, is going to be a valuable project. In a sense, what we're trying to say is, if you have the choice to launch on our blockchain, why would you go and launch it anywhere else? Because over here you would be vetted, and anywhere else you may not be. And everywhere that our tag is going to be on there, those people's projects that come and audit with us, it's going to be the new gold standard in the industry. It's going to set their projects apart from any other project on any other blockchain. Now, we might start slowly with it. As we grow, we'll definitely add more people to the team to that. Currently, we're doing the documentation on that, as I've mentioned earlier. And we're implementing the proper pages and how-tos on the back end for that. And once it's ready, we will upload it, and with instructions of who can come and who can apply and whatnot. I can sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours and hours, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass it back to Neville for Neville to close up something on the V1.
Awesome, Gary. Thanks for that. So there was some questions in the chat around the tradability of V1. Unfortunately, the way we code our contracts, we consider it safe code. So we didn't implement any function to stop trading completely. Fortunately for V1, due to the attack on our launch, our swap and liquefy prevented selling. So we were able to stop people from selling, but not buying. So there was a significant influx of buys on V1 after we took the snapshot, leading up to our launch, and then even after our launch. So a lot of people saw a giant $26,000 buy yesterday. So that buy was us. So we purchased those tokens to airdrop to those people who purchased V1 because their intentions were to purchase V2, but due to the mistakes and I guess the lack of clarity at the time, they purchased V1 instead. So we're going to be airdropping those tokens to those holders. Going forward, though, I do want to just point out, we will continue doing that. We will continue buying the tokens to refund to these holders, but it's only going to happen once a month. So any purchases that took place during the month on V1, we'll compile that data and airdrop once a month. The price per token will be at the time we purchase the tokens. So if you bought in for 1 BNB, that 1 BNB will be converted to the price of the token at the time we purchase it. So please, guys, be very conscious about what you purchase. V1 is no longer supported. But we do understand that mistakes can happen, and that's why we're going to continue facilitating this reimbursement in this format. So again, V2, the migration is complete. So please, we did our best to take down V1 from as many sources as possible, but definitely don't want to leave anyone behind, and we're going to continue doing that. So for those who are wondering, yes, that was us. No one else would have been able to make a purchase at large due to max transaction. So some people did put two and two together, so good for you. Other than that, that is it for me. So I think we're good to move into some questions now. So let's open it up. Mods, as people raise their hands, let's just allow them to speak, and we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you so much, Neville. Thank you. And guys, please, I'm gonna set some ground rules here. No more than 2 questions per person. Nobody is allowed to speak over anybody else. We're all equals here. Should you choose to break the rules, you will be muted and you will not be unmuted. So without further ado, let's unmute 2 or 3 people at a time with their hands up and call them out. So I'm not seeing anybody unless they're already unmuted. So guys, if you have a question, please click the microphone button and raise your hand up. We will unmute you. We welcome all of your questions.
So Lonnie asked a question in the chat. Please go over how to get tokens. So definitely, there is a little bit of a learning curve if it is your first time purchasing into BSC. The admin team can definitely navigate you. Again, we don't facilitate any kind of trades. We don't give financial advice, but we will guide you towards how to buy. So just a quick overview. You would have to download either Trust Wallet or MetaMask. You would need to fund that wallet with BNB, whether it's through the tool itself. So I know Trust Wallet has on-ramp providers built in, or you can purchase it from a custodial platform like Binance or Crypto.com and transfer it into your Trust Wallet. And then you would swap it to Smart Chain and then proceed to purchase from either PancakeSwap, KuCoin, or any other trading platform.
Neville, I forgot to mention one thing. Do you want to touch base on the little surprise that we were going to mention?
Oh, sure. So Gary, he definitely wants to have some fun here, right? And part of his vision that we were saving for later on in the roadmap, he wants us to speak more to about now. So let's go ahead and do that. So a centralized, decentralized, a trading platform in general is not the most entertaining topic, I would say. If you're a professional investor and trader, then for sure it's interesting and it's fun to keep and follow along. But we did want to incorporate some entertainment aspects into our plans. So our blockchain will also play host to crypto games, right? So games that are deployed from our blockchain that will be funded and paid for. The currency for the game will be our native coin, Steam Exchange token or Steam Exchange coin. So look out for that. Definitely more details to come as that develops and as that gets built in. But it was one of the things in consideration for our blockchain. And that just gives you some more insight into how in-depth our planning on the blockchain went. So gaming is definitely on the table. So I hope that was exciting.
I'm just gonna go down the list, guys, and start.
That's very exciting. Sorry, Pete. Guys, the pumpkin contest, my wife had mentioned that I've done it a little bit early and maybe people don't want their pumpkins to rot. So we will be doing another contest ending on our next AMA. Do DM her with your pictures. And I'd like to announce the winner, and I'm gonna drop the pumpkin that did win it in the chat, in the main chat. Sorry, I'm just dropping it right now. Now, there were other ones. The reason we picked this one is because it had both the train and the X, whereas some other ones only had the X. I believe this one was courtesy of Dogiano. Dogiano, if you can send her your Binance Smart Chain address, and we will take care of your winnings, sir. And starting now, if you guys want to go buy pumpkins, or if you don't have a pumpkin where you're from, you can buy a watermelon and make this event that you can actually do with the family while explaining them a little bit about crypto if you'd like. That would be on our next AMA. We would announce the next winner on our next AMA, and that would be that for the pumpkin competition.
Hello, Gray. Mr. Gray.
So, Doriano, if you're here, let me see. Are you here? I don't see. Okay, so we'll have to send a DM. The next one, the second best one, was from Crypto 6 God. If you guys can see Crypto 6's God picture, that is the submitted pumpkin. That was the next best one. The design on it is spectacular. But my friend, you did not carve anything out of it.
But it was extremely well done, though. I was
Yes.
thoroughly impressed by that one. It was actually, we were almost considering making that one the winner. The only thing I was lacking was some carving. If you would have just cut an X anywhere on that pumpkin, you would have had it, buddy.
Awesome. So okay, so we're all clear on that. I'll get her to DM Doriano after for the good news. And if anybody has questions, something
I think
we did lift
Katie
a few
has a
things up.
question. Yeah, Katie, you want to go ahead?
Hello.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
Did you have a question?
No, not really.
No. Okay.
All right,
Well,
awesome.
thank you
Thanks
for
for
being
tuning in,
here.
my man.
Just want,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, I just want to know. Yeah, I just want to know when we are getting to Asia market.
When? Sorry.
When we're getting to the Asia market.
Okay, maybe that's. I think that's a good question for Enki.
Yeah, most definitely. That is a good question, guys. We do have that definitely on the map. As we mentioned earlier, we are working through a few optimizations on our end when it comes to the website, documentation, and our roadmap as well. So those translation efforts will be going on. At the same time, we are talking to a few YouTube influencers that appeal to a certain demographic in Asia. We are also setting up a few AMAs with some credible community groups in Asia. And for the Chinese market specifically, they have different marketing tactics, right? So some of the platforms we use aren't as applicable there. So stuff like Bleebly, Weibo, we will be on those platforms. And we are working at plugging away at it. So thank you so much for your question, Kitty. Asia is definitely a priority to us. And our sort of marketing efforts will be lined up to sort of attract investors from those communities as well. So thank you for your question.
Perfect. Thank you. And also just to touch on that just a little bit more, like if you go and take a look at the website, you'll see the image that's assigned to the roadmap for the local communities and the expansion of our language support and stuff like that. You'll see there's multiple languages there, right? So we are going to be incorporating a lot of those languages into our infrastructure and into our platform. And all of those words just mean home, right? Because Steam Exchange, we want that to be your new home. So that is a hint and an Easter egg into what's to come. We are starting with the Asian market, starting with Mandarin. We do have a local community set up for Mandarin already for the Asian community. If you're not part of that, just drop a question in the chat and we'll definitely set you up with a link.
Great
All right,
answer,
that sounds
Neville.
good, bro.
So much. Thank you, Kitty.
Can you?
Mile High 777. Did you have a question?
Yes. Can I go ahead?
Absolutely. Go ahead, sir.
Can you guys elaborate a little bit on how the main blockchain is going to be used for games?
Neville, is that something you would like to answer?
I mean, sure. So again, this was a function and feature we weren't planning on announcing yet. It is something that was on our whiteboard that we wanted to plug in, and it was one that we all agreed on. The developer for the native coin and the blockchain, you're going to meet at a later time. We did want to focus this AMA on Maurice, who has immediate deliverables coming up. So once we once we get the other developer into an AMA, we'll expand on that more. But essentially, we do want to offer everything under the sun, right? In the best of our capability. And gaming is definitely one of them. I've been an avid gamer for a long time. I am an avid gamer still. Obviously, I haven't had time to game in a long time, thanks to Gary. Thank you, buddy. But definitely gaming was part of our plan the whole time. So stay tuned. We'll definitely give details about that, and information about that will be in the documentation of our blockchain.
Thank you, Neville, for the awesome answer. And you can't blame me. You're not bored.
I'm not bored, but I'm not gaming, so it is a different kind of fun.
Hey guys.
All right. Who has a question? Amir, Amster, go ahead.
Hey guys. So I have a question for Enki. If you can take us through your Google Ads, your campaign, like can you talk about like your strategy, the targeting, the budget, all that? What do you have like? What's your plan? And
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I mean,
Enki, you can go ahead and give him everything except all the intellectual property.
yeah, Gary, that definitely stays with us. And Amir, I'm sure you'd respect that some elements of that question I cannot answer. So when it comes to our sort of budget and who we're targeting, all of that stuff, it does depend on sort of our skill level and where we're trying to hone in, right? But I will say this. We have two campaigns live at the moment. One is for focused YouTube video ads. Essentially, what we are doing is some other influencers out there, we are targeting their subscribers, their channel, so that essentially when people watch those YouTube influencers, they will see our video ad playing in between. So that is one aspect where, besides paying or sort of setting up an engagement with that crypto influencer, we're sort of using a roundabout tactic to be in front of their loyal investor base. So that is one aspect. We also have display campaigns that are pushed out wide. So the display campaign is our sort of widest net that we're throwing out. It focuses across the US, UK, and Canada. And that is as wide as you can get. And I'm sure you'd understand that the budget reflects that as well. So those are the two campaigns that we currently have live, which is a display ad and a video YouTube ad. We will be scaling up campaigns towards search and other aspects as we come closer to the exchange release.
Thank you, Enki.
Perfect.
Enki, do
Thank
you
you
mind
very
if I add
much.
to that?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Gary.
So
But thank you for your question,
we do have physical advertising as well in the local areas. It's not online, so we are also at the same accord, I should say, targeting the local population here. There are a chain of stores that currently have our ads in a different language other than English. These people have already been calling and asking when they can walk in through those doors, and I keep having to tell them that in a few months. But nevertheless, the engagement with the community is there, and it is showing great positive results. I hope that satisfies your question there, Amir.
Thank you very much, because the Google Ads is one of the things I'm really excited about. This is huge. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, us too. Thanks, Amir. There was a question in the chat that I do want to answer. The question it came yesterday actually, and it said, do we plan on listing our token and or native coin on any other centralized exchanges, just like you can buy BNB on crypto.com? So the token, no, right? So we're not planning on listing our token anywhere except where it is currently. But the native coin, 100%, right? So we definitely want to scale as far and wide as possible. We definitely want to get as much mass adoption as possible. Keep in mind that the native coin will function best in our own ecosystem, but that's not saying we're going to limit the amount of exposure of that native coin. So definitely stay tuned for that. More information will come as we get closer to our platform launch and our strategic partners at the time.
Thank you so much, Neville. Anybody else would like to raise their hand?
Yeah, I have a question for Enki.
Okay. John Porter, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So, Enki, could you maybe elaborate a little bit more on what's the marketing strategy is going to be on targeting the people that were using Binance in Canada and once the Binance exits the Canada? So, is there like a plan how you're going to capture all those 1.4 million users from Binance?
Yes, there is. So we can't be too vocal in our messaging that, hey, if you're a Binance user now, step into Steam Exchange. But we would be doing so in a roundabout manner, right? So of course it does come down to targeting across multiple platforms. On Google as well, we can hone in on users that may have visited the Binance website, Binance US, may have downloaded the Binance app. There are multiple things that we can do and will be doing, but at the same time, right? So those individuals, yes, we want to find them a new home. The timing of our release Q1 2022 does tie into that as well. So there is going to be an element to absorb those users, but at the same time, we are pushing for market share against some other competitors as well, right? So yes, in a short answer, yes, that will be a focus, but our messaging will not solely be attributed to, hey, if you are using Binance, now use Steam Exchange, because the benefits and sort of our principles that we stand for far exceed anything that Binance has ever tried to put in play, right? And think of, let's tie back to the whole reason Binance is stepping back. The Ontario Securities Commission essentially told them that, hey guys, if you want to continue to do business in Ontario, in Canada, these are the few things you need to do. We have to look into your sort of books or whatever it is. And Binance, rather than comply, they said, hey, we'd rather abandon our loyal user base than work through some of these guidelines and regulations. So when it comes to core principles, the vision, the sort of customer service, credibility, all of those aspects, we definitely will be standing apart. And yes, we will absorb their market share as well. But the vision and our marketing messaging goes beyond that. So I hope that answered your question.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Enki. Anybody else would like to ask another question, guys?
Hello?
Crypto Dog, go ahead, ma'am.
I was just curious. I'm in the US. Would we be able to also use the exchange?
Sure. Good question. Neville or Chris, would any one of you guys like to take this?
No, go ahead, man. You can have this one.
Thank you, Neville. Absolutely. So you are able to log in from anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection, as you know, and to most websites. Now, with the exception of North Korea. Now, yeah, so we will definitely use different providers. So if you're talking about onboarding and offloading your fiat, there's going to be different. We're actually in talks with them right now about setting it up already through the API, the bank API. There's going to be different providers for different countries. So yes, US is definitely one of them. And we did verify for those of you who are in New York.
That's me.
They are operating in New York and their head office is in New York City.
Oh, wow.
So New York will not be out of the question. They will not be excluded. New York is part of the team.
Awesome. Okay, thanks so much, because we get New York kind of gets put out of everything pretty much. So that's good to hear. Thanks so much.
I'm so sorry you guys have been neglected, but we are not neglecting you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good question. Very good question. Thank you for that. So anybody else, guys? Don't be shy. We're here for you.
I just want to go back to that for a quick second before we move on. I don't think people understand the magnitude of that, right? Like New York has been, I would say, the poster boy for scrutiny for a long time, right? And we're doing everything we can to make sure that they are included in this plan, which is huge. Most platforms just kind of give up on New York and geofence them out, but we're doing everything possible to include them in our family. So just keep that in mind. Right, that everything we want to do is the new golden standard, like Gary always says. This is not short of that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So
I have a
let's
question.
see if you guys have another 2-3 questions. Unless I could imagine that maybe some people are shy because we are recording, and maybe some people would like to ask something after we're done. But nevertheless, let's see.
Yep.
And
Max,
guys,
you had a question?
Yes,
just
just
to
a real quick question. Can you provide more clarifications once the token is converted to native coin? What happens to the native coin after that?
So the
very
do you
good
mean
question.
do you mean like the token? What happens to the token after that?
Yes.
Okay, so the plan is, and again, there's multiple plans in place, not just one. The strategy is to facilitate the swap through a portal on our platform, and that will be open for a limited amount of time. That time hasn't been defined yet. That's going to come with the more research and analytics as we progress to the roadmap. But anyone that does not swap in after that point, when the portal gets taken down, they will be paid out in the currency of their purchase, so BNB in this case, for the last known price of the token. So we're going to stop the trading on the token when the portal goes live, and whatever price it's at when we stop it and take our snapshot, we will pay out in BNB for anyone that doesn't swap into the platform. I think does that answer your question? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's part of the question. One part of the questions, and the other part is what happens to the native token if we just leave it there?
So it's not going to be left there, right? So once the swap is complete, let's just, I guess, take a step back. So once the trading is stopped and the snapshot is taken, and we open up the portal, the liquidity from the token will be moved to the platform to back the native coin. So you wouldn't be able to sell that token anymore. You will either have to swap into the platform through the portal, or if you choose not to do that, you'll be paid out at the end of that journey, right? So once the time frame that we set expires, we will go ahead and airdrop everyone the BNB that they're owed, I would say, or to be paid out for that amount. The amount will be the last known price of the token, and that's going to be taken at a snapshot point. There will be a countdown for it. There'll be media about it. There'll be posts about it. You won't miss it, right? It'll be everywhere. Anywhere you watch Steam Exchange media, you'll hear about it there. And then as soon as that's done, again, the token will be unsupported. It'll be all about the native coin.
Thank you.
Great question. So once again, what Neville is saying is you will have the choice to evolve with us, upgrade, or you will have the choice to be cashed out. And back to what I was saying before, someone, I guess my mic dropped or whatever happened there. The current payment provider that also does the US side, they are Canada, US, UK, France, Ireland, Netherlands, and Spain. Again, we'd like to emphasize that US, New York had an issue, and it no longer will have an issue with us. Again, Max, great question. Anybody else have anything else they'd like to ask us?
Yes, I would have a question. Can you hear me?
Sorry, where's who?
Nick. I don't know if you can see me.
Yes, Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, so I have a question. One of the global mega trends right now is sustainable energy, green energy. And I was wondering if you guys have any plans to maybe give an option to users to offset some of the emissions that might have been caused by the transaction.
So we do have many of these plans. I'm going to speak to part of this, and then I'm going to let my team give the option to answer it. We have not actually decided if we're going to be proof of work or proof of stake. So that's number one. In terms of transactional costs, there are many mitigations that we're doing in order to help people lessen the load. For example, there are people out there using 5 different applications to complete their trading needs. I'll let Neville. Do you want to answer the rest of that?
For sure, right? So, like Gary just mentioned, right? Like today, when we're doing our trading, we're not really helping that carbon footprint by using 5, 6, 7, 8 different tools to accomplish our trading. Every time we execute a trade, we're adding to that problem, right? So what we're trying to accomplish here is to bring all those into one house, right? And then we can now manage that footprint internally. It's definitely something that is on our radar. We are always conscious of those situations around the world, and definitely offsetting it based on strategies and implementations is on the map. Again, the documentation surrounding the native coin and the blockchain is still underway. Actually, hasn't even begun yet. That's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But it is on our whiteboard, like I mentioned, and this whole exercise, so Stage 3, Phase 1, is to move that data from the whiteboard into a project plan, right? So Chris is going to work very closely with our developers on the documentation, and all those ideas, functions, and features and integrations will be plugged into a project roadmap. And once it's there, we'll have a better idea of how to execute it. So for now, definitely a good question. We definitely have that in the back of our minds and in our hearts, truly, right? And we're trying to solve a problem, right? And solve multiple problems. And that's definitely one of them.
Okay, thank you.
Good, very good question.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Regarding about the token, the Steam token, is there any countdown?
Luffy, I'm so
For
sorry.
that?
Can I ask you to speak up a little bit, please?
Wait. The token, Steam token that I bought in Pancake Swap. Is there any countdown before you will exchange on the new one token on the launchpad?
Yeah, for sure. So Luffy, we are slated to release our exchange in Q1 of 2022, right? When that happens,
Yeah.
for sure, our community, anyone holding the Steam exchange, the Steam X, sorry, token, they will be migrated over to the Steam X coin. Or, as Gary mentioned, will have the option of cashing out their value at that stage. So rest assured, before that migration happens, we will let our community know. As Neville mentioned, there will be media, there will be articles. You will not miss it. So it is coming, Q1 2022. So we do have a few months ahead of us, but thank you for your support along the way.
Is if you migrate your token, is there any tax, a fee or something like that?
Once
I
again,
don't
good
believe
question. No,
um,
there won't be any tax. There won't be any fee.
not for the
That's
migration. And so if you were to again trade, transfer, buy, sell, or transfer the SteamX token, yes, the 13% transaction tax does apply there. When we migrate the token to the coin, there will be no tax implied there. And then for the functionality of our coin, there won't be any tax on that as well.
okay, great. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Thanks for the question.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are all doing well. So I just had one small question. So it's regarding the migration itself from the SteamX coin to the blockchain native token, right? So you said that there will be a specific time limit where we'll be allowed to do the migration, right? So say suppose that out of all the max supply that we have right now, which is about 90 billion, right? So suppose that even about 50% is migrated to the blockchain native token. So I just wanted to know that whether there will be a one-to-one mapping with the native token, because if you look at the exchange tokens, right? So there is a very limited amount of BNB or KCS in the centralized exchanges. So about like 300 million or something. So will that ratio be reduced when we move into the blockchain native token or not?
Nishant, that's a very, very good question. So let me just clarify one thing. You are asking if we move over the entire liquidity pool and some people don't move over. Essentially, are you going to gain value? If so, the answer would be no, because we would have to pay back the people that do not wish to migrate back in BNB, right? Now, in terms of whether it's going to be mintable or not, we can't discuss that just yet. That's proprietary.
Okay, but say suppose that about say 50 billion of SteamX token has been moved into the blockchain native token, right?
Okay, so Nishant, what you're asking is like the ratio of the amount of tokens. Will it be 1-to-1 or what will it be? So
Right.
it's definitely we're definitely not going to have 100 billion native coins, right? So the ratio that you swap into the platform will be based on the value, not the token amount. So whatever we decide to create as per for our supply for the native coin, the value of your token will reflect in the amount of tokens coin you get on the platform.
Okay, thank you so much. And I had one more small question. So for both the centralized and the decentralized exchange, right? So say suppose that I have a SteamX to BNB liquidity pool, right? So will that same liquidity pool be used in both the exchanges, or will there be separate liquidity pools for the SEX and DEX?
Yeah. So
That's a great question, Neville. Did you want to answer that?
No, you go ahead.
So you have the liquidity pool that you have added yourself into Pancake's swap, correct? And you're asking if when we migrate over to our native coin, you will be able to migrate your liquidity pool. That would not be possible for you, sir. You would have to pull out your liquidity pool.
Okay, but my actual question was that say that when we transfer all the tokens into the blockchain, like the final blockchain native token, right? So say suppose a liquidity pool is created, right? So I just wanted to know that whether the centralized exchange will be using that same liquidity pool to provide the liquidity, as well as the DEX will be using that same pool, or will there be separate ones?
So you are thinking that this is a common decentralized exchange, which it is not. We are able to complete trades without having the liquidity for a token or a coin, because we're able to fill orders from other pools.
Yeah, so just to add on that, right, Nishant? So once the trading on the token is complete, the liquidity pool for the SteamX token on BSC will be moved to the platform to back the native coin. The native coin will be part of the pool for that will be on the centralized side, and the decentralized side will have access to multiple pools outside of our ecosystem. So to answer your question, like the LP from the token from BSC will be moved to the platform to back the native coin on the centralized side.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. That's all that I had.
You're welcome, Mishan. Guys, I think with that note, we're gonna finish the recording. So if everybody can just hold 1 second, and we do thank you for joining us today and being here and supporting our Steam Exchange family. We thank you guys from the bottom of our heart.
Definitely appreciate you guys being here and taking the time to listen to us. This AMA was recorded. It was streamed to our Twitch. As soon as we download that data from Twitch, we'll upload it to our YouTube and share the link.